لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. أما بعد، رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and alhamdulillah we are continuing in the journey of inshallah helping one another on how to perform Hajj the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, according to the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And today inshallah ta'ala we have reached on a stage of animal sacrifice at Hajj and the rulings. When should you be sacrificing? When must you be sacrificing an animal? Under what circumstances, inshallah ta'ala? What should you do? And if you do not have the animal, what do you do in its place, inshallah ta'ala? And also, inshallah, at the end, inshallah, we'll be showing Hajj step by step with video, inshallah, showing so that when you go there, inshallah ta'ala, as if you have seen everywhere in video evidence, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. Inshallah, animal sacrifice, there are certain reasons. We said there are three kind of a'mal, deeds that we have to do during Hajj. There are those which are pillars, arkan. Rukn, if you are to leave a rukn or a pillar, you must complete it. Otherwise, your Hajj is not valid. For example, is tawaf al-ifada, sa'i, arafa, al-wuquf bi-arafa. All these, you must do it. Otherwise, your Hajj is not completed. Secondly, there are those which are wajib, the compulsory that you must do. But it means if you do not do it, your Hajj is still accepted, but you have to offer a sacrifice. You have to slaughter an animal, a sheep or a goat, or give someone to do it on your behalf. And there is those deeds which are sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ has told us to do this, do that, and everything. With these ones, it completes your rewards. You'll get maximum rewards if you have to do it according to the sunnah and the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. But if you are to leave something that is sunnah, which we've explained in the previous lectures, your Hajj is fully accepted and you do not have to offer anything. So inshallah, today we will look into what if you have left some wajibat, things that are compulsory, how and when should you be offering a sacrifice. First and foremost, whoever was to leave something that it is wajib, we've explained what they are. If you are to leave something that it is wajib, for example, kal ihrami min al miqat, to enter ihram in the designated areas. The Prophet ﷺ has said each particular area, for example, for those who are coming from Medina, Dhul Hulayfa, and others we've already mentioned them, al-miqat. You shouldn't enter those borders or boundaries before you enter in the state of ihram. Once you enter that, you should be in the state of ihram. If you are to enter that areas, you've gone past the miqat, therefore you have to offer an animal sacrifice. Secondly, for those, once we finish Arafah, we have to go to Muzdalifah. And then once we leave Muzdalifah, we take stones to throw at Jamratul Aqaba, the big one. There are three ones: small one, middle one, the big one. On the day of Eid, the day on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, when you've left Muzdalifah, you go direct to the big one and you throw 7 stones. If you are to leave that, if you are to leave anything that it is wajib, compulsory, then you get sins if you've done it intentionally. If you've not done it intentionally, therefore you offer an animal sacrifice, that your Hajj is complete. So if you've not gone for particular reason, for any reason, you've not gone to throw the stones, you just left, therefore you have to offer an animal sacrifice. Another reason of offering an animal sacrifice, الجمرات الثلاث في أيام التشريق. أيام التشريق, the day 11, day 12, day 13, we have to go on those different places. The small one, the small shaitan, they say, the middle one and the big one. Each one we throw 7 times, saying Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. You throw it 7 times. You go to the middle one, do the same. You go to the big one and do the same. So if you are to do, not to do them in those particular day, day 11, day 12 and day 13, you have to offer an animal sacrifice. And then if you have not slept, or if you have not remained in Muzdalifah for certain period of time after midnight, no matter how little time, if you've been there for after midnight, for short period of time that is required, therefore you have to offer an animal sacrifice. If you have been there even for short period of time, you do not do that. And then ترك المبيت ليالي أيام التشريق في منى. They are the nights of 11th, 12th and the 13th. If you are not to sleep in Mina for at least half of the night, therefore you have to offer an animal sacrifice. And they say if you've left all 3 nights, you've not slept, you offer an animal sacrifice. If you are to leave 1 night, you've not slept for 1 night, you offer a mud, which is 700 grams of food that you give it to poor people. If you've left 2 nights, you give 1,400 grams of food that it is eaten there as a sacrifice. And also, one of the things which are wajib that you must do is tawaful wada', the last tawaf, a farewell tawaf. If you've not done it there intentionally, you'll get sins, but your Hajj is valid, and you can give an animal sacrifice. That you have to give an animal sacrifice. If but for those who are women, those who are on their period, or those who are they've given birth and nufasa, then those are exempted. They're forgiven. They don't have to give anything. And then for those who are doing tamattu' Hajj, there are 3 kinds of Hajj: tamattu', qiran, and firad. The tamattu' is starting with Umrah and then coming out of your ihram on the day 8th of Dhul Hijjah. You go with people, you enter the state of ihram again in your hotel, or if you do not want to offer a sacrifice, you have to go to miqat, then go to Mina on that particular day. But you can do it in your hotel. But if you have done tamattu' Hajj, you have to offer an animal sacrifice or qiran. Qiran, it is intention of Hajj and Umrah. Tamattu' is much better and easier. You do your Umrah as soon as you come, do your Umrah, come out of ihram, do whatever you want as a normal person, and then re-enter the ihram when the days of Hajj start. Qiran, you will enter Hajj and Umrah with one intention. You'll have to do them and then offer an animal sacrifice. Ifrad is only doing Hajj only. And these ones are the time, Umrah, the time of Hajj. And then for those people who are going to miss standing in Arafat for any reason, any delays or any sickness, even for 1 single minute, from the time of Dhuhr, Zawal, until the time of Fajr, morning Salat, if you've not managed to get even 1 minute, then your Hajj is not valid altogether. You'll have to re-offer, you'll have to perform a Hajj again the following year, even if that Hajj is just a nafl. You've already done few Hajj, you'll have to do it again. And the animal sacrifice is in terms of sheep or goat. If you can slaughter it yourself, well and good. If you can't, you will give it to someone to do it on your behalf. There are places where you can pay and they will inform you that they have slaughtered the animal on your behalf. For those who cannot afford, the Quran has mentioned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you will be fasting, you'll be required to fast 10 days. ثلاثة في الحج وسبعة إذا رجعتم تلك عشرة كاملة. You'll have to fast 10 days, 3 while you're in Hajj and 7 when you go back home. Those in total are 10 days. And those people who have to offer animal sacrifice are those who have entered in the state of Ihram and they are making their way to do Hajj for any reason. If they were stopped by the authorities, or there was a war, or they became sick and they cannot do it at all, therefore they'll have to come out of Ihram and offer an animal sacrifice. And those who've missed Arafah, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hajj Arafah, if you've missed Arafah, you will leave you'll come and go and do Umrah. Then you'll have to re-offer the Hajj or redo the Hajj again. But for those who are going to have slept with their wives, sexual intercourse during Ihram, while both are in the state of Ihram, they will have to offer as a fidya a camel who is 5 years old. If you are not able and you cannot afford, you'll have to offer a baqarah, a cow. If you cannot afford that, then sab'u shiyahin, you'll have to offer 7 sheep or goats. If you cannot do that also, therefore you will probably, if you cannot find it, you cannot manage to find it, you will estimate how much that costs. For example, if every or the camel costs $500, for example, you will use that money to buy food and give it to the poor people. If you cannot even afford to buy the food and you have committed sexual intercourse during Ihram, first of all, your Hajj is gone. Your Hajj is not valid. You must complete the remainder of the days of Hajj, but your Hajj is not valid. You'll have to offer it again immediately next year. You'll have to redo it. And also, if you cannot offer a camel or a goat, a cow or 7 sheep, you'll have to estimate the money used to buy a camel is how much to buy food and give it. If you cannot manage to do that, you will estimate the amount of food for every single mud, which is exactly 2 hands like this, or 700 grams, you will fast a day. For every 700 grams for the food, you will see how many kilos. For every 700 grams, you will fast a day in its place. And another reason of slaughtering an animal that we must do is damul lis-sayd. For those who went hunting while they are in the state of Ihram. If you've killed an animal, whatever kind of animal that you've killed, you'll have to offer, you'll be given 3 options. Either offer an animal similar to that, or estimate the amount of money that can buy that particular animal, and then buy food and give it, or you give that money in sadaqah. Or you'll calculate that money. If I was to buy food, how many grams, how many kilograms will it be? For every mud, every single 700 grams, you will have to fast a day in its place. So these are the punishment for those who go hunting while they are in the state of Ihram. It is forbidden and it is sinful. Another reason, cutting trees of the Haram, the Haram al-Makki. Therefore, you will have to offer if the tree that you've cut is big, you'll have to offer a cow. And if you have cut, you cannot afford, or you cannot find a cow, you'll calculate how much will it cost to buy a cow. You will give that money in charity, in sadaqah, or you will estimate the amount of food that money would have bought for every single mud. If you cannot afford, therefore you have to fast for every single mud, or 700 grams, you'll fast a single day. If the tree that you've cut is small, you'll give a sheep, you'll offer sacrifice in terms of sheep, or you'll calculate it again and give the money, or you will fast for every single mud, or 700 grams, you'll fast a single day. And there are other reasons why we have to offer animal sacrifices during at Hajj, is for those who are going to cut their hairs, shave them or trim them, 3 or more of your hairs intentionally. Therefore, you are given a choice of 3 things. Either you fast 3 days for doing that, or you slaughter a sheep or a goat, or you feed 6 poor people, and every person of the 6 you'll have to give nisfu sa'in, is an equivalent to 1,400 grams. In total, for the 6 people, you'll have to give around 9 kgs, 9 kilos. And also, if you have taken intentionally 1 hair, you'll give 700 grams a mud. If you've taken 2, you'll have to give 1,400 grams. If you've taken 3 and more, that is when you'll have to offer the 3 options that we've mentioned before. And similarly, what we've been forbidden to do, muharramatul ihram, is cutting our nails while we are in the state of ihram. Therefore, if you cut 1, you'll have to offer 700 grams. If you've cut 2 nails intentionally, you'll have to offer 1,400 grams. If you have cut 3 or more intentionally, for example, if you had a problem, one of your nails, there is a problem, you can cut it, no problem. But if you've done 3 intentionally, therefore you'll be given 3 choices. Either you fast 3 days, or you slaughter a cow or a sheep, not a cow, sorry, a sheep or a goat, or you give in form of food, feed 6 poor people of around that area. For every single one, you'll give them 1,400 grams, 2 mud, and the total will be around 9 kgs, 9 kilograms. And if you are to cut 1 nail only, you'll give 700 grams. 2, you'll give 1,400. There are other reasons where we have to offer animal sacrifice. If you are to cover your hair with a cap, or anything else we are forbidden to do to cover our hairs, our head, therefore you'll have to offer an animal sacrifice. And if a woman covers her face, they're not allowed to wear niqab. The Prophet ﷺ, we've mentioned that. With what we are not allowed, what is forbidden during ihram. We've already done that. And if she was to wear gloves, therefore also she'll have to offer an animal sacrifice. If you are to apply perfume, if you are to wear perfume on your body or on your clothing, therefore you have to offer an animal sacrifice. If you are to use oil on your hair, on your body, or on your beard, you'll have to offer an animal sacrifice. If you are to have a sexual encounter and enjoy with your wife, not having sexual intercourse, but enjoying kissing, holding, hugging and all that, you'll have to offer an animal sacrifice. We said if you were to have a sexual intercourse with your wife, therefore your Hajj is gone completely. Now if you are to redo it 2nd times while you're still doing the amal of Hajj, you'll have to offer an animal sacrifice. And the options given is one of these 3, fasting, because if you are to do any of these, covering your hair, or covering a woman covering their face, wearing gloves, wearing perfume, applying oil and all the other things that we mentioned, you're given a choice of doing 3 things: fasting 3 days, or slaughtering an animal in terms of sheep or goat, or option number 3, feeding 6 people, 6 poor Muslim, 6 poor people. For every person you give them nisfu sa'in, which is an equivalent of 1,400 grams, and in total you have to give 9 kilograms. So these are the reasons on when we have to offer animal sacrifice at Hajj, and these are the rulings. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us an understanding of our deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our Hajj, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.
ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا رب علمنا الذي ينفعنا رب فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابات لنا في ديننا